Supreme Lord, eternal truth, let us obey thee alone and live according to truth. परमोच प्रभु सत्यम नित्यत्वमेव केवलम अनुवर्तामहे सत्यम अनुजीवन केवलम ओं शांति शांति शांति. Good evening, Namaste, Vande Mataram, welcome all of you. The topic of this evening's big discussion will be on experience and realization. Very interesting topic. So people follow this integral yoga, the path people follow, they must have some realization and they must have be having some experiences. So of course we'll discuss something today, of course this evening, on Aurobindo's writing, especially emphasizing that on experiences and realization. So the topic of this great evening's discussion will be in a big way on experience and realization. As Aurobindo quotes, experience is a word that covers almost all the happenings in yoga. Very big definition. Experience is a word that covers almost all the happenings in yoga. Only when something gets settled, number one, then it is no longer an experience but part of the siddhi. So this is the difference. Only when something gets settled, then it is no longer an experience but it is a part of siddhi. Example, peace, when it comes and goes is an experience. Goes and comes and goes, it is an experience. When it is settled and goes no more, permanently it settles, then it is siddhi. So this is the first part. Second part we will realize. Realization is different. It is only when something for which you are aspiring becomes real to you. We are aspiring for something and that becomes real. So example we can take, you have got the idea of the divine in all, the idea that is divine in all, that is the idea. But it is only an idea, a belief. When we feel or see the divine in all, when it is seen, we have seen that divine is all, that is we have already seen, then it becomes a realization. This is the difference between experience and realization. So very interesting, of course, to really the spiritual seekers, they must be in a position to realize and to have some experience. So second, next we'll go. All that is to make unnecessary distinctions. All this is to make unnecessary distinctions. An experience of a truth in the substance of mind, in the vital or in physical, whatever it may be. The experience in truth in the substance of mental, vital and physical, whatever it may be, is the beginning of realization. It is just a beginning. It is a starting period. It is a base. When I experience peace during the course, when I experience peace, I begin to realize what it is about the peace. Repetition of the experience leads to a fuller and more permanent realization. If it is coming repeatedly, if I am having a repeated experience of it, then it becomes a fuller and more permanent realization. When it is settled anywhere, that is the full realization of it in that piece or that part of the being. This is the difference. Initially it comes, then actually the repetition, and the third in the next, when it is settled, after this getting settled, we get full realization of it. Then of course another big things here in the course here. It is spirituality when you begin to become aware of another consciousness. It is spirituality when you begin to become aware of another consciousness than the ego, and then the ego, something aware of another consciousness than the ego, and begin to live in it, excluding ego, that is, and you live in that consciousness, that is not, that must not be ego, or under its influence more and more. Under this influence you stay there for more and more. It is that consciousness, wide infinity, self-existence, pure of ego. That is the true feeling, true realization. When you become aware of the another consciousness that is other than ego and begin to live in it under the influence more and more, then this higher consciousness becomes wide infinity self-existence pure of ego, which is called the spirit, self, Brahman and the divine, it is called. So I will quote it again, very interesting definition. It is that consciousness that is not definitely not the ego. It is under influence of more and more when you are staying. This it is that consciousness, wide infinity self-existence and pure of ego, and that consciousness which is called spirit, or in other words, self, Brahman and divine. So this necessarily must be the meaning of the spirit, meaning of spirituality, to live under the influence of this Brahma, self, spirituality, spirit, Brahman, divine, etc. So realization is this, and all this that the experience and the growth of this greater consciousness brings with it. This is the difference and this is the definition. In yoga, Sri Aurobindo again quotes beautifully, in yoga, the yoga is one who is yogi is one who already established in the realization. He must have the established realization. Sadhak is one who is getting or still trying to get realization. This is the difference between a sadhak and a yogi. I will quote it the definition as defined by our master. Lord has defined. The yogi is one who is already established in his realization, that is yogi. And the sadhaka, in between, what sadhaka is? One who is getting or still trying to get realization, that is sadhaka. So, very next we'll go to very interesting definition. It is not the question of it is not the question of giving an equal value to everything you do, but the recognizing the value of all the different elements of the sadhana, giving value to the different elements in sadhana, that is a great matter. No such rule can be made of that trances are the of little value, or that experiences that of inferior importance anymore. Now, then it is said the work is of no or inferior importance. Each has got its value, each has got its importance. Then we'll go, Sri Aurobindo's quote, the ordinary bhakta is not a lion heart. Very interesting, very much a crucial point here. The ordinary bhakta is not a lion heart. The lion hearts get experiences comparatively soon, but in ordinary bhaktas have often to feed on its own love yearning for years and years, and he does it. So this is the difference between ordinary bhakta is who under the bhakta, ordinary bhakta who is not having a lion heart. The lion heart is one who experience comparatively soon, but ordinary bhakta he strives, often fed in his own love or yearning for years and years, and he does it finally. And Sri Aurobindo again quotes, I think Ramakrishna indicated one indication somewhere that love and joy and ardor of seeking was much more intense than that of fulfillment. Love and joy and ardor of seeking was much more intense than that of fulfillment. So, still in the course, I don't agree, but this shows that at last the intense of love is possible before realization. And very next extension we will see the whole it is contrary to the fact and the quite ordinary fact that the spiritual experience, Sri Aurobindo quotes one beautiful sentence here. My point is that I have hundreds of bhaktas who have the love and seeking without any concrete experience. Bhaktas are there in number, but they lack the concrete experience. So, with only the mental conception or emotional belief in the divine to support them, this is their numbers. The whole point is that it is nature, it is untrue to say that one must have decisive or concrete experience before one can have the love for the divine. That is not at all true. It is contrary to the facts and the quite ordinary facts of the spiritual experience here in the course here. So another, there is no room certainly for the despair during the course, because this experience and realization we got many times despair. There is no room for certainly for despair. The bliss always comes in drops at first. In the beginning, the bliss comes in drops, very small drops, or a broken trickle. Sometimes you can see. Yet you have to go cheerfully with full confidence, because it is there, it is coming. All till there is till there is the cascade, we must be there, we must fulfill, and we must have to proceed in a very positive way. Here also, Sri Aurobindo stresses upon three things. We must know it. It is necessary to lay stress on three things. Number one, an entire quietness and calm of the mind and the whole being. Entire quietness and calm in the mind and the whole being. Number one. Continuance of the movement of purification described in the post-scriptum of that psychic being, the soul, may govern the whole nature about the psychic being. Number two. Number three, the maintenance in all conditions, the maintenance in all conditions and through all the experiences of the attitude of adoration and bhakti for the mother. These are the conditions in which one can grow through all the experiences with security and have the right development of the entire realization without disturbance. So, for this, these three must be taken up, and the three must be taken care of, and they must be aware of all these before three what we have discussed so far, without any disturbance to the system or being carried away by the intensity of the experience. So, what we have to do? Calm, psychic purity, third, bhakti, fourth, spiritual humility. Four things here in the course. Number one is calm. Number two is psychic purity. Number three, bhakti. Number four is spiritual humility before the divine, are the three conditions we must be able to understand, and these are the conditions we must realize. The experiences in themselves are right and helpful. So these three things I must say: calm, psychic purity, bhakti, and spiritual humility. The most required thing we must remember, we must go through. And here in the course in another way, if you have had the experience, which are the signs of future possibilities. Some signs to asking a question, the future of future possibility, to have more within the past one. And a half years it would be necessary to have the complete attitude of sadhaka and give up that of the man of the world. It is only then the progress can be rapid from the beginning. So this experience during the course, it can be complete attitude of the sadhaka and give up that of the man of the world. So these are the complete attitudes during the course here. Again, we'll go for the beautiful quiet during the course here. Unless the Adhar is made pure, very interesting. Unless the Adhar is made very pure, neither the higher truth, intuitive, illumined spirituals here in the course of quite correct. Unless the Adhar is made pure, neither the higher truth like intuitive, illumined, and spiritual, nor the overmental, nor the supramental can manifest. So Adhar, the base, is required. Whatever forces come down from them get mixed with the inferior consciousness, and the half truth takes the place of the original truth, or even sometimes a dangerous error. So that must be the base must be ready before the things are coming. So last we are here, the cosmic consciousness, the overmind knowledge, and the experience is an inner knowledge, but its effect is subjective. As long as one has the one has that one can be free in soul, but to transform the external nature more necessary, that is the requirement. Then Sri Aurobindo has quoted very interestingly, finally, it is an inner experience of the cosmic consciousness and the overmind knowledge that is required simultaneously. It is the big thing that actually do. Subjective does not mean the false, it is only means that the truth is experienced within. So, but it is not taken the hold of the dynamic relation with the outside circumstances. Thank you. Vande Mataram.